3 a.m. The unconscious lieutenant in ICU wakes up, grabs Caroline's wrist, and whispers one word. Not water. A name. And the man who owns that name is standing in the doorway right now, his gray eyes cutting into her like knives. The next 12 hours blurred. Every time Lieutenant Peterson stirred, Caroline was there. Around 3 a.m. he woke up briefly, eyes glassy with pain. Water, he croaked. She held the cup to his lips. Slowly, Lieutenant. You've been out a while. He looked at her, then at the guards outside. Where is? Too weak. You're safe, Caroline said. Just rest. He closed his eyes. Caroline sank back into the chair. No news on Code Atlas. No updates. Just the hum of machines and muffled boots. Around 6 a.m., the door swung open without a knock. Caroline jumped up. Jared Romero stood in the doorway. Immaculate. Unyielding. Exhausted. Dark circles under his eyes, but his back was straight. He stepped inside, followed by two men in suits, who hadn't slept in a week. Dr. Cromwell scurried behind them, a nervous chihuahua among wolves. Status report, Romero said. He wasn't looking at Caroline. He was looking at the bed. Vitals are stable, Colonel, Cromwell said. No signs of infection. I wasn't asking you, Doctor. Romero's voice cut like a scalpel. He turned to Caroline, his gray eyes pinning her in place. The nurse. Report. Romero's full attention landed on Caroline. Up close. His eyes were unnerving, pale gray, like a storm sky, dark lashes. He assessed her like a specimen under a microscope. Now, he said. Caroline swallowed, palms slick, and forced her voice steady. Lieutenant Peterson's heart rate is around 72. Blood pressure 120/80ths. He woke briefly at 0300, oriented but weak. I administered 2 milligrams of morphine, at 0315. Urine output is normal. Romero listened without blinking. Then his gaze dropped, from her scrubs, to her name tag, to the signature line on the chart in her hands. Caroline watched his face. A tiny shift. A slight narrowing of his eyes. His jaw clenched harder. He stared at Caroline Thompson, a beat too long. Then the moment passed. He looked up, his expression once again a mask of stone. Acceptable, he said. He turned to Cromwell. Double the security. No one within 50 feet without my authorization. Not the hospital admin, not the Joint Chiefs, not God himself. Clear. Why yes, Colonel. Romero turned to the door. As he passed Caroline, he paused. He didn't look at her, but his voice washed over her, low and cold. Do your job, nurse. Nothing else. He walked out. The door swung shut. Caroline let out a breath and realized her hands were shaking. What an ass, she muttered. But she couldn't stop thinking about the way he had looked at her name, like he recognized it. When Brenna came to relieve her at 7 a.m., Caroline ran to the locker room. The hot water washed away the sweat and antiseptic, but not the memory of those gray eyes. She dressed in the clothes she'd worn to the date, the little black dress and heels. She looked ridiculous. The cab ride home was suffocating. By the time it pulled into her parents' driveway, her nerves were frayed. She paid, opened the front door. Where have you been? Her mother's voice came from the living room. Caroline closed her eyes for a second. Her mother sat on the sofa, still in her housecoat, arms crossed, fury barely contained. I was working, Caroline said. Hospital emergency. An emergency. Her mother stood up, voice rising. Brenda Dawkins called at 6 a.m. She said you walked out on Preston in the middle of dinner. Caroline rubbed her neck. Mom, I had to go, I don't care, her mother shrieked. Preston Finch makes $300,000 a year. He has a condo in Georgetown. He's a snob, Caroline said. He thinks nurses are beneath him. He told me to quit and find a man to support me. That's called being a provider, her mother shot back. Your father provided for me, and I gave him a home. That's how the world works. Caroline looked at her father, hiding behind his newspaper. He didn't look up. He never did. I'm not doing this, Caroline said, turning toward the stairs. I haven't slept in over 24 hours. You're not going anywhere, her mother snapped, blocking her path. Brenda is humiliated. Preston is humiliated. You've ruined our standing in the community. Caroline let out a bitter laugh. Your standing. That's all you care about. It's called respect. Caroline. You clearly know nothing about it. Her mother's eyes blazed. You are going to call Preston and apologize. Personally. Caroline stared in disbelief. Apologize. For having a job that matters. For being rude. For being ungrateful. Her mother jabbed a finger at the phone. You call him, or I will call him myself and apologize for you. Do you want that? Do you want your mother begging for your forgiveness? Caroline's shoulders slumped. The fight drained out of her. Fine, she whispered. I'll call him. She walked past her mother and trudged upstairs. She closed her bedroom door, leaned against it, and slid to the floor. She buried her face in her hands. She had escaped a killer in the hospital, only to come home to this. Trapped by her job, her family, Evrion's expectations. And the worst part, she had no idea how to get out. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. One line, Nurse Thompson. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pentagon, Section B. Don't be late. Wear something nice. She stared at the screen, her heart skipping a beat. The message was sent at 4:13 a.m. Right, when Colonel Romero walked out of ICU room 3.